Welcome back, guys, to the Man to Man Sports Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Ethan. And for our third episode, we are going over the Week 2 matchups and our predictions for them.
Who's going to be 2-0 and who's going to be oh no?
Oh no, yeah, worry set in. But then we're going to get into our trivia answer for our trivia question from episode 2.
Very good. So our trivia question was, of the active quarterbacks still playing in the NFL, what three quarterbacks had the most comeback victories? And you got number one with Matthew Stafford. Have you thought about 2 and 3 yet?
I have not. What are they?
All right, number 2 is someone that you might expect, who's not necessarily the most premier quarterback these days, but certainly had his heyday, and that's Russell Wilson was number 2.
Oh yeah, plenty of great comebacks by him.
And number 3 is a personal favorite of mine, and that's good old Captain Kirk Cousins. All right, so that's your top 3 comeback leaders in the NFL currently.
Sweet, and so now we'll get into our Week 2 matchups, with our first matchup of the week being the Thursday night game between the Commanders and the Packers at Green Bay.
Oh, short porch for both these teams who had, epic divisional games first week.
Yes.
So you come off a divisional win for both teams, where both teams' defenses look outstanding and the offenses look more than competent, right?
Yes.
So here we go into Thursday night game, week 2. Which one of those defenses is for real? Which one of these offenses can step up? Personally, for me, I think that this is going to be a great game. It's going to be really close. And I'm interested to see your analysis. You look at the quarterbacks, and you've got Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels, two of the premier young quarterbacks in this league. Running backs, Josh Jacobs, certainly the Packers have a edge there, but,
We have a good set of running backs in Eckler and Corey Krosky-Merritt. To your question on which defense is legit, I think the Packers did go up against a better offense. I would say their defense is legit. Our defense went up against a pretty bad offense. So I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game, though.
I'm kind of torn. I went high on a lot of games last week that did not end up being high-scoring games.
Yeah.
I think the real question here is, can Washington get that same interior pressure on the run offense of the Packers, with a better running back, a better offensive line? And can they get that outside pressure? One thing the Giants did do really well last week was kind of shut down or at least slow down Frankie Louvu.
Yeah.
They made that their topic. They said, we're going to stop him, and the rest of the team has to beat us. Unfortunately for the Giants, the rest of the team beat the dog out of them. For the Packers, going against a rival with the Lions, a top-notch offense last year, a team that was premier team in the league, they done an excellent job putting pressure on Goff.
Can Jaden Daniels step up in week 2? Can we get the ball to Terry more? Because that was a problem in week 1 against this great Packers defense. And so I think score prediction is going to be, I do think Washington, unfortunately, doesn't pull this one out. So I've got the Packers in a close win, about, I would say, 28-27 Packers.
Nice. Well, Packers did look great. They did look like the better team. And they coming off a short week, a lot of times that's where the better team shines.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a homer on this one.
Okay.
I'm going Washington with the upset.
Oh, wow.
And that's my upset of the week.
Oh.
So that's my
upset of the week.
Upset of the week, absolutely. I'm going 28-24.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, Green Bay were 3.5-point favorites, so it is a good upset of the week. For the next game, our first 1 o'clock game on Sunday, we have the Rams at Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, so poor Titans. Tough draw. 2 good defenses in a row.
Oh, yeah.
Stafford looked good. Puka looked like he wants to win some football games. Tough-minded.
Kyron had a good game as well. I do think Kyron steps up in this week 2 game. I think he has a big week.
I do think the Titans look better on offense, but I don't think it's enough for them to get them past the Rams. I got the Rams in this one, another low-scoring game, like 21-15.
Wow, yeah, Rams. I do think I take the Rams. I do think Cam Ward takes a step up. He played the best defense in the league last week. I think this week he does hit his first 200-yard game, and he has a good week throwing the ball around. Hopefully Calvin Ridley gives him a little bit of help. But I agree. I have the Rams. I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams in a 17-14 win.
Oh wow, yeah, that is a low scoring game. It'd be interesting because both these offensives struggled last week, but both the defenses played pretty well. So you may be on to something there. We'll see how that pans out.
Okay, and so for our next game, we're going to Cincinnati. Winner, it's going to be Jacksonville against Cincinnati.
Okay, so last week I picked the Bengals. I'm sorry, I picked the Jags in a shootout, and I picked the Bengals in a blowout. Right?
Yeah.
This could be the shootout I was looking for last week. Can the Bengals get on track? Are the Jaguars' defense really that good, or were they just playing that bad of a team last week?
Yeah, I don't think Joe Burrow's on his ass as much this week. He's not going up against the Myles Garrett type talent this week. I do think Jacksonville gets pressures. I do think Cincinnati gets a game plan for it, and they get the ball out quicker to Jamar Chase on a couple screens and T. Higgins on a couple hitch routes.
That's a good call. I think Travis Etienne and Bashan Tootin look good again. I think Brian Thomas, not Blair Thomas. Boy, that's a 1990s Jets running back for you guys. Brian Thomas Jr. shows up. Yeah. I think Travis Hunter continues to progress. I do think this is a close game, though. I think this may be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I do think I'd take Cincinnati. Oh, man. It's tough for me. Cincinnati didn't look as good as Jacksonville last week. Jacksonville played a better team, and they still looked better than Cincinnati.
What's the line on this game? I'm curious.
That is a good point. Cincinnati is 3.5-point favorites, and it is like we are predicting a high over-under 49.5.
49.5. So, yeah, if I'm a betting man, I'd probably go under on that one.
Okay.
Surprisingly, I think it's a close game, but not a shootout. And then I think I take the Jags into points on this game. I think Bengals may come out on top, but I think the Jags cover, and that's my pick. I think the Bengals are going to win this game like a 24-21.
I like that. I do think Trey Hendrickson shows out again against that O-line, and they are going to have to rely on the run game, like you said. Does Jacksonville's run game outbeat Joe Burrow? I don't think so. So I will take Cincinnati, and I don't take the spread, though. I'm going to take a 24-21 Cincinnati win.
Very good. And let's see if the Jacksonville can run the ball like they did last week.
Yeah, we'll see. And so we'll move on to the next game. A little bit of the Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow, okay. You got the Ravens coming off a heartbreaker where they dropped the ball.
Same as the Browns, yeah.
Yeah, well, same as the Browns. But let's face it, the Browns are used to it. The Ravens are used to it, but against the upper echelon teams.
It's against a better team, yes.
Yeah, so I think the Browns are going to struggle against the Ravens. I do think, this is another divisional game. It wouldn't surprise me if it looked a lot like that a lot like the Bengals-Browns game, but I don't think it's going to be quite that close. I think Lamar and Derrick Henry finally break through. Zay Flowers shows up. D-Hop has another solid game.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that didn't show up in the first game for the Ravens was their tight end play with Likely and Andrews. Andrews had a letdown game. I expect him to play I shouldn't say play much better, but I think he'll be more involved in this game.
I agree.
As far as the Browns, I think they continue to try to run the ball and win with their defense. I just don't think it's going to be quite enough against this Ravens team who is still trying to, look as a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I think Harbaugh throws the ball. I think he runs the ball. I think it's going to be the Cleveland's going to get pressures with Myles Garrett. They may have to rely on the run game a little bit more. So I've got Baltimore 24-14 against the Browns in this 1 o'clock game.
That's a good score. I think the Ravens are going to score a little more.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to go like a 31-17 Ravens win.
I like that. All right, for our third 1 o'clock game in this week 2, we have the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets in this AFC East clash.
Yeah, another great, I think, going to be a really good game.
Oh,
Both teams played really well last week. Buffalo come out with a win. The Jets come out with a heartbreaking loss. Will that be the same result this week? We'll have to see. Is Justin Fields that dog? Or does he return to the Justin Fields that we saw last year that was inconsistent?
I don't think so. I think Justin Fields still has that dog in him. I think their run game is going to be just as good as Baltimore's was last week. I think they're going to thrash them on the ground. Justin Fields going to hit a couple good passes. This will be a really good and close game like they both were in last week.
Yeah, last week's Jets-Steelers game and the Bills-Ravens games, I think were two of the best games to watch. And I think this will be no different. I think this will be a fun game to watch. I think the Jets defense is better than the Bills defense, but it's close.
Okay.
I think the Bills offense is slightly better than the Jets defense. Better than the Jets offense.
Yeah.
But it's close. I think this is going to be another fun game to watch. I think it's going to be run dominant with the Jets, just like that Steelers game. But I think Josh Allen is Josh Allen. This game is at the Jets, though, right?
Yes, it is.
So, this is a game where, Buffalo had a later game than the Jets last week. And maybe that shows up a little bit early in this game. So you got James Cook and you got Breece Hall. And you got Allen for the Jets, who the backup running back, who they get the ball to some too, which I think he runs hard.
Okay, yeah.
He's kind of a pinball out there. He bounces off tackles. And so I really like this game. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to come down, to the end to see who wins.
I think Josh Allen's going to have that Aaron Rodgers performance like Aaron Rodgers had last week. I think both teams don't score as much as they do last week, so I'm going to go with the Bills in a 28-24 win, close game. I don't think the Bills cover the spread, which is the Bills by 6.5.
That's a good pick. You know what? I think this game is a letdown game for the Bills. I think the Jets pull out an early home divisional win against the Bills, and everyone gets really excited about the Jets, like last year.
It's a great prediction.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much the opposite of yours, 24-21 Jets.
Hey, okay, I like that. Another 1 o'clock game in between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, two teams that were disappointing last week. I mean,
very much so.
Let's just face it, the Dolphins look like the worst team in football last week. I don't think they are, but that's what they played like last week. They were not ready for the Colts at all. New England was playing a much more competitive, I think a team that's probably better all around. I think the Colts defense is really good, but I think the Raiders are all around a better team. And the Patriots were home, and I think they had a lot of high hopes, and they got dashed a little bit. Drake May was not as good as they thought he was going to play.
Yeah.
And that defense played well, but not well enough to win. So
Drake May was getting pressured by Max Crosby last week. We won't have a Max Crosby on the other side of the ball this week, so I think he'll have a little bit more time in the pocket. Maybe he gets a little comfortable back there. It is in Miami. Do we think Tua turns the ball over 3 more times? I mean, he has turned over Tua. He's done it before where he's thrown 3 interceptions 2 games in a row. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think it happens again. Yeah, I'm going to take New England in a close game. I'm going to go New England 18 and Miami 14.
That's a good pick, and that's where I would lean to, but I've just got a gut feeling about the Dolphins this week. Wow. I think this is a sloppy game. I don't think either team looks very good.
Agreed.
But I think that the Dolphins can run the ball more effective. I think Tua cuts down his turnovers, and I think the Dolphins win at home in a close game, like 20-17.
Oh, I like that prediction. It's a good prediction, and so we'll move on to the next game, which is the San Francisco 49ers versus the New Orleans Saints at New Orleans.
Oh, wow. So you got the beat-up Niners against the lifeless Saints. And I hate to say that. I had higher hopes for the Saints this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were really banking on the Niners for a comeback year this year. I just don't know that either one of those are in the cards.
Yeah, if I'm the coach for the New Orleans, you can't have Desmond Ridder throw the ball 40 more times. We got to get Kamara 20 plus carries or at least 25 plus touches where he has 10 catches and 15 carries. He needs the ball more to be the productive guy on that offense. I still don't think they pull it out the beat up 49ers. The defense is still going to be good. The offense is going to, hopefully Christian McCaffrey steps up this week.
I'm not sure I have a lot of, I don't know, something about McCaffrey worries me. But here's what I do like. They went out and they traded and got Brian Robinson as a backup.
He showed some promise last week.
Yeah, he did. I think he looked pretty good running the ball up the middle, which that's what he's good for.
Yeah.
And then the backup, Tungus, came in and played very well in the absence of Kittle. I think Pearsall continues to progress.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has another big week this week with Kittle out. And I think he could get a couple of long balls for that offense, get that offense rejuvenated.
Yeah, I think the Saints' chances bank on can they run the ball effectively?
Yes.
Can they get those short little drop down passes to their tight end?
Yes.
And can the defense show up and stop the run? If the Saints do that, if they can get a couple turnovers here and there, I mean, it could be a dirty South ball game here. But I just don't think they got it in them. I think the Niners win in a tough slobber knocker type football game. I'm going to say it's going to be like a 17-10 game.
Okay, I have the same score for the Saints. I think it's going to be 49ers 21-10.
Very good.
All right, and for the next 1 o'clock game, we have an NFC East matchup between the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys.
Both teams coming off of losses last week and divisional losses to top that. So whoever wins this game really will separate themselves from the other team here because the other team will now be down 2 games and will be last place in the division. Obviously, the Cowboys played much better than the Giants did last week. I don't think the Giants are that bad, but like we talked about in a recap, I think the Cowboys will beat the bad teams and lose to the good teams.
This is the matchup that we were talking about earlier. Are we going to be 1-1 and have some promise, or are we going to be 0-0 and be 0-2?
Yeah.
Either one of these teams could be that team this week.
Yeah, very good. And, if the Cowboys go 0-2, then the world turns over and everything catches on fire, right?
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith is going to be on air screaming.
Yeah, and if the Giants go 0-2, it's a media circus, and everyone's calling for Russell Wilson's head, and Brian Dable, too.
Yeah, he's going to be benched maybe. Maybe Jackson Dart comes in. I don't think so, but...
Yeah, so I think both teams... I think the Cowboys play well again. I think the Giants play much better. I don't think the Cowboys cover in this game. I do think the Cowboys come away with the win. I think CeeDee Lamb doesn't drop 1,000 passes.
Yes.
On the flip side of that, I think what we're going to see out of the Giants is I think Malik Neighbors has a big game.
A bigger game, yes.
I think Cam Scatterbo continues to churn out yards and maybe even eventually take a prime position in that running back room.
Yeah, because I thought he played better than Tyrone last week, but Tyrone had like 50% of the snaps.
Yeah, well, not to say Tyrone had a tough task. He was getting hit as soon as he got the handoff. But Cam showed some life on those screen passes or those little dump passes in the flats. And he looked very promising to me. He was very impressive. Sometimes when you see these bruiser guys, you don't know how they're going to play against the big boys. Well, he showed he can. And so I think it will be a close game. I do have the Cowboys winning. I think it's going to be like a 24-20 game.
Yeah, the best part of that Giants team is that D-line, and they started off the season rough and with 2 good offensive lines to go up against. So I agree. I have the Cowboys in this game. I think it's going to be a little high scoring. I do think the Giants offense gets started. Malik Neighbors gets a touchdown or 2. So I do have the Cowboys in a 24-14 victory.
Very good, very good. What's up next?
All right, the next game is the Bears versus the Lions. Again, 2 teams who are 0-1 could go 0-2 at Detroit.
Yeah, this is crazy too because if you would have said, the Lions could be 0-2, I don't think people would have believed you last year. But they're
only losing 3 games last year, so yeah.
Yeah, being two games down in the division possibly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if the Packers and Vikings both win and the Lions lose, it'd be a tough hole to climb out of. It'd also be a tough hole for the Bears And it's just it's hard to start out with two divisional games back to back like that.
It is two good defenses. I mean, they choked last week. The Lions really just never had a chance. It's going to be a good game. I do take the Lions in this game. I think this one's going to be high scoring, though. I think both teams come firing out. It's going to be my first 30-point game. I think the Lions win 31-20. We'll just say 27. 31-27 Lions.
Yeah, you were kind of reading my mind on that one. I think Goff has a much better game. Amon-Ra St. Brown does well. And then the flip side of that, I think the Bears get behind and throw the ball a lot and score some touchdowns on the lines of keeping it close. I think it's going to be a 31-27 ball game. Lions win.
Nice. So we have the same score. I like that. And so we'll move on to the next game. The last 1 o'clock game. Oh, this is a good game. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, two great defenses. Both defenses played very well last week. I think, and a lot of people would argue the Steelers' defense didn't play good. I think they did, and they played
at some points, yes.
And they played well when it mattered. And this game is, where's this game at? I'm sorry.
It's at Pittsburgh.
At Pittsburgh. Seattle's got to travel, coming off a tough loss. I do think Darnold throws the ball more effective, but I think he's going to be under as much, if not more, pressure this week.
I think Pittsburgh's got the better D-line. I think the Seahawks have the better secondary. I like both teams' defenses. I like both teams' quarterbacks. I do think both teams run the ball a little bit more this week and that they find a little bit of success in that. Jackson Smith and Jigba still has a big game. DK Metcalf maybe has a big game. He will be guarded by Devon Witherspoon, though. He has a big task ahead of him. I do have... it's going to be a good game. I want to hear your score prediction first.
Fair enough. I think it is at home for Pittsburgh. They don't have to travel. I do think Rodgers struggles a little more against this secondary.
Very true.
But I do, at the end of the day, think that the Steelers have too many weapons, and I think that they're going to put Darnold under too much pressure, and I think that's going to be the difference in the game. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I think it's going to be like a 24-20 ball game where the Steelers separate themselves and look as a playoff team. And unfortunately, the Seattle Seahawks go in that 0-0 position. I do think they're a better team than that. I do think they will rebound, but I've got the Steelers.
Okay, and I think I'm going to go Seahawks here. It's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to be really low scoring. It's going to come down to just a couple of possessions in that fourth quarter. Does Devon Witherspoon get an interception? Does Leonard Williams get a sack fumble? Does T.J. Watt strip the ball like Nick Bosa did last week? It's going to be a really good game. And I've got the Seahawks in a very good one, 17-14.
Oh, wow. A low-scoring game. I like those kind of games. I hope you're right.
Yeah, and so we'll move on to our first 4 o'clock game, being the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. 2-0 question mark.
Yeah. So these teams both started out looking like phenoms on defense. The Colts looked a lot better on offense than the Broncos did.
Yes.
Is Danny Dimes back? Is Jonathan Taylor going to dominate this Broncos defense?
That's a tough task.
Will Ty Warren have another big game? Or are they going to come back to earth a little bit against this orange crush defense here of the Broncos? So the Broncos going to run the ball better this week? Or are they going to give R.J. Harvey the ball more?
Yeah, I mean, that was their whole offense last week, was their running game and their defense putting them in good positions. I do think they replicate that. I think that Denver defense is legit. Even though they were up against Titans last week, they're really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only way the Broncos lose this game is if Nix has another bad game. I just don't have enough faith in Danny Dimes against this defense. And even though they have the better run game, the Colts, I feel like at the end of the day, the Broncos defense is just too overpowering. And so I've got the game. Was this game at Denver? Or
this is at Indianapolis, with Denver being only a 1.5 favorite. I do take Denver in this one. I do think they cover that. I'm going to take Denver in a 20 to 13 game.
I like where you're at there. I would probably go with a similar score. I think I'll go 17-7.
Wow, yeah, the Denver defense holding that Colts offense to only 7 points this week after scoring 30. All right, in our next 4 o'clock game, we have the Carolina Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals, and surprisingly, the Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites.
That's a big spread for a game like this.
Yes.
However, as bad as the Panthers look, I understand it.
Yeah.
Cardinals weren't, not overly impressive against the Saints, but they went in and they done what they were supposed to do.
Yes.
And they done their game plan. They showed the team that they are. They like to run the ball. They like to play hard-nosed defense. And, they like to get Marvin Harrison the football.
Which is smart. I like that game plan from them out this season. Last year they didn't do that enough. They weren't running them on the best routes. I do think Bryce Young has a better week this week, though. I like him. I think he throws the ball better. His rookie last week did show promise. Get the ball to him more. Give it to Chuba out of the backfield. And the defense needs to step up, and I think they could win this one.
I mean, that's fair. I do think that, they can't play much worse than they played last week.
Yes.
I do think Chuba's a solid running back, and I do think these young receivers that the Panthers have are going to grow as the year grows, as long as Bryce Young doesn't fall apart. I do like the Cardinals in this game. I think this is why I picked them as a playoff contender, is because of this soft schedule. And I think they take advantage of it here with the win. But I do think it's going to be a closer game than people predict. I do think it's going to be kind of a sloppy game, but I like the Cardinals in this game. I'm going to go 24-20 in this game as well.
I don't mind that one, 24-20. So you're going with the Cardinals going 2-0 and the Panthers going 0-0.
And the Seahawks being 0-0.
Oh, man.
Or 0-2, rather, I mean.
Yes, I'd put the Cardinals in a big league against the Seahawks. I don't have the same prediction. I think Bryce Young does step up this week, and I do think they win this game in like a 28-24 game, Panthers.
Wow, nice pick. Is that your upset of the week?
Yeah, let's lock that in. Upset of the week.
Upset of the week. All right, nice.
All right, so then we're going to move on to my game of the week. It's the Super Bowl rematch, 4 o'clock game, Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead.
All right, you got both teams who, even though the Eagles won last week, a lot of people would say that they did not play to their potential last week.
Yeah.
And then you have the Chiefs who look rusty.
They did.
They lost a tough one, in a different country to a good team. So.
Yeah, 50% of America and 70% of analysts picked the Chiefs to win that game. So they did disappoint a little bit. I do think they come out firing this week. Jalen Carter is going to be on Patrick Mahomes' ass all game. I don't think Pacheco gets anything going for him. They're going to have to rely on the Mahomes magic. Xavier Worthy already rolled out, so he's going to have to work with what he's got. And the Eagles, healthy, Jalen Carter back. They're going to look good in this game.
Wow, I just find it hard to believe the Chiefs could be 0-2.
Yes.
But that's where we find ourselves here.
Very possible.
I mean, if the Eagles come out and play like they did in the Super Bowl, it's going to be a long day for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. He was under pressure all that Super Bowl, and I think it's going to be the same this one. The Andy Reid's got to come out with a really good game plan.
So, where's this game at?
It's at Arrowhead.
Arrowhead, and what is the spread?
I think the Eagles are favored in a 1.5 point.
Okay, so stay away from that.
Yeah.
I personally do think Patrick plays better. I think the Chiefs play better. I think it's hard to play in Arrowhead.
It is very hard. It's much different than a neutral stadium where Eagles fans were roaring the entire game.
Yeah, and, I like the Eagles this year, but I don't think that defense is what it was last year. I think this is going to be a good game like the Ravens-Bills last week.
Yes.
And I think the Chiefs find a way to squeak this one out. I think Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
And I think they pull one out. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring game than most people think.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Kansas City 28. Let's go 28-27, 1 point game again.
Yeah, I like the 1 point game. I do think it's going to be a little bit low scoring, just a touchdown less though. I have the Chiefs in a 21-20 victory.
Oh, wow. So no 0-2 for the Chiefs, huh?
No, I think both these teams are going to start out 1-1 and that both divisions are going to be pretty open. And so we'll move on to the 8 o'clock game, the Sunday night game. Vikings getting 2 primetime games in a row. So we have Atlanta Falcons at Minnesota.
Wow. So Atlanta, coming off that heartbreaker.
And Minnesota coming off a huge victory.
Yeah. So is the luck going to be on the same sides again?
Yeah.
I do think Atlanta took advantage of a Buccaneers team that was not ready to play. And I think Minnesota, showed why they won 14 games last year.
Yeah.
And JJ delivered when he needed to.
Yeah, that defense stepped up when they needed to. All around good performance.
Yeah, I like it. I think I like. Unfortunately, I think Atlanta falls 0-2. I think Penix plays well again.
Yeah.
I think McCarthy probably plays about the same, but I just think the talent-wise, Minnesota is the better team. And it's hard to say because Atlanta has so many weapons, but I do think that Minnesota's defense is just way better than Atlanta.
I do think you're right, though. I think Atlanta may go 0-2, and Minnesota may go 2-0. It's going to be a really good one. I think it's going to be in the 20s, just like both games were last week. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I think Minnesota makes that field goal. So I'm going to go with a 24-23 victory for Minnesota.
I like your score. I am going to go a little higher scoring.
Okay.
I'm going 31-28 Minnesota Vikings.
Wow. Yeah, so we both got the Vikings, and I like that score. This week we are blessed with 2 Monday night games, especially for you West Coast people out there. You get to watch both of them. And so our first game will be the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at the Houston Texans.
And this is my game of the week.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so... but I do think both teams played disappointingly last week. And I think both teams come out this week looking much sharper. I think both defenses... I think Houston defense continues to play well.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs defense plays much better than they did against Atlanta. I think Nico Collins rebounds from his shoddy performance. But I also think Tampa Bay, plays better football here.
Yeah, so Tampa Bay, top 5 offense. Houston, top 5 defense. This is a treat. I love the game of the week. Shout out. This will be a really good game. See which one comes on top, defense or offense.
Yeah, and normally I'm a defensive guy, and I shade that way, and I find it hard to believe that Houston could go 0-2.
Yeah.
But I do think the Bucs are a Super Bowl contender, even though let's just face it, they got lucky last week. But sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
And they played.
That rookie stepped out. I think he does it again this week.
I agree. I think he continues to progress. I think that they run the ball better. I feel like they just gave up a little too early on the run last week.
Yeah.
I don't think that Houston can bake. And I think Baker comes out on top here in a close one. I think this is going to be a tougher game defensively than the last game we spoke about. But I've got Tampa Bay winning a close one, 23-20.
Yeah, I don't think that rookie has those same numbers as last week. He's going up against 2 really good corners in Stingley and
Lassiter.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough for him. I do still think Tampa Bay comes up on top. A little bit more low scoring. It's going to be a tough game. I'm going to go 20-14 Tampa Bay.
All right, we both got Tampa Bay in that one.
Yes, we do. And so then we move on to our last game, another Monday Nighter. The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders at Las Vegas.
Another divisional game in the Sin City there. The Raiders squeaked one out against a lesser team, in my opinion, than the Chargers did against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think the Raiders' defense plays well again against this Chargers offense.
Yeah, I think the Chargers offense stands out against this defense. I mean, Joe Alt did good against Chris Jones. I think he could just do just as good against Max Crosby, which is the forefront of that defense. I think Glad McConkey is going to have a big game. I think Justin Herbert's going to be just as good. Joey Bosa maybe get a sack or 2. I don't think this one's going to be close. I think this is going to be a big blowout. So I've got the Los Angeles Chargers in a 28-14 victory.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I don't see that at all, to be honest. I think both of these teams are on the right trajectory.
Yes,
I think they're both taking the right steps. I think they're both going to be better as the year goes on. I just think right now the Chargers are further along in that progression than the Raiders are. And I can see the Raiders, being the Chargers of next year. But I think this year, I think the Chargers have shown to be a premier playoff team. Or I think the Chargers or the Raiders, if they get in, it's going to be that last seed, and it's going to be a squeaker. I like the Chargers in this game as well.
Okay, yes.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though. I think this is going to be a tough divisional game. I see the Chargers winning this game like let's go. It's tough. I'm going to go 28-21.
All right, and for our final segment, we have a fantasy boom or bust projection for Week 2 of the NFL. I want to hear your first boom prospect.
Yeah, we're both avid fantasy football players. I really started out rough this season, but I hope to turn it around. But I am a wily veteran. I do think that I'm pretty good at it. I guess we'll see this year with our boom and bust segment. So my first boom of the week, and it's kind of a predictable one, I think. And I would, if you have Jahmyr Gibbs, I look for him to have a big game. Depending on your point spread, I think he gets 100 yards. I think maybe 150 total. I think he scores a couple touchdowns as
Wow.
the Lions offense rebounds this week.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. 25 plus projection, you think, for Jahmyr, fantasy wise?
I mean, it depends on your league point, but in our league, obviously, I think he can have 30 points this week.
Okay, wow. All right, with my first boom, like I said, I think Lad McConkey has a big week this week. Last week, he had like 70 yards. I think this week he hits his first 100-yard game. I think he steps up this week against that Raiders team. Like I said, I think they blow him out. I like Lad McConkey this week to have 100 yards and a touchdown, maybe 10 receptions.
I like Ladd on the year for sure. I think he really proved himself far beyond my expectations last year.
Yes,
I look for him
great
to
rookie
repeat that
season.
this year.
Yes.
Yeah. So my second boom is another predictable one. I think. I think no one was more disappointed in the Bengals' offense last week.
Oh yeah.
I think they do rebound this week, and I think Jamar Chase has a monster ball game.
Oh yeah. I mean, rough week 1, 101 of multiple fantasy drafts. I like that prediction of you.
Yeah, man. What about your second boom of the week?
Oh yeah, so my second boom of the week, a good week 1. He had 4 receptions, 100 yards. I think he booms again. Without George Kittle in the lineup, I have Ricky Pearsall. Like I said earlier, I think he has a good week this week. I think again he has maybe not 100 yards, but I think he gets thrown the ball more now that he's proven himself. He has like 7+ receptions, 80 yards. He's projected 13 points. I think he booms to 15+.
Wow, I think that's a good prediction. We talked about that in our game recaps and our preview, about them needing a weapon, and Pearsall is that weapon, I think, for this week. Good pick. And so now we're going to each do our one bust of the week. This is a player that I'm really high on. I think he's going to have an excellent rookie season, but I think this week would not be the week to play him, and that's Ty Warren against this Broncos defense. I think the Broncos are going to make him and Jonathan Taylor their focal point, and I think he's going to have his welcome to the NFL moment.
Oh yeah, just like Cam Ward had last week.
Yes.
That Denver defense is going to be breaking in a lot of rookies this year. And so for my bust of the week, I am going in a little bit of a different direction here. James Cook is projected 20 points against the Jets defense, which likes to stop the run first. And so I think the Bills are going to be passing the ball more. James Cook may get a couple receptions. I can still see him getting 10 to 15 points this week. I just don't see him getting that 20-point game this week like he's projected.
So I like where you're at there. Not necessarily a complete bust, but just too tall of a projection for him to overcome this week. So I like where you're at there. So that is our Boomer Best segment of the week.
Yeah, make sure you leave a comment on your Boomer Bust and leave a like and subscribe. We would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, we had a lot of good output last week with our first episode. Some new subscribers. We really appreciate that. And we hope you enjoyed our Week 2 preview here on the Man-to-Man Sports coverage.
All right, and to end it off, we're going to hit 3 booms. Boom, boom, boom.